1 year after the failed invasion, the starship Phoenix silently approached the planet Taraxis, a world that had been under Draconian control for 3 decades. The ship's unique design, combining sleek human aesthetics with advanced Draconian technology, made it invisible to Imperial sensors. On the bridge, Captain Maria Diaz guided the ship into orbit. Beside her stood Kurzath, once lieutenant to Commander Vax Thule, now Earth's ambassador to oppressed worlds. "Scans show heavy Draconian presence," reported the sensor officer. 3 patrol ships in orbit, 1 military base on the surface. "Are they detecting us?" asked Captain Diaz. "Negative. Our stealth systems are working perfectly." Kurzath studied the view screen showing the blue-green planet below. "My people conquered this world easily. The Taraxians have natural telepathic abilities, which the Empire sees as valuable but dangerous. The mission was delicate. Earth would make contact with Taraxian resistance leaders, offering technology and training that would help them break free from Draconian control without bloodshed." Meanwhile, back on Earth, Vax Thule entered the new Galactic Communications Center built beneath the Atlantic Ocean. Dozens of humans and Draconians monitored transmissions from across the galaxy. Through this network, Earth gathered intelligence about the Empire's activities while remaining completely hidden. Dr. Elena Santos greeted him with excitement. "We've intercepted something big," she said, leading him to a private room where President Chen waited. "The Emperor is ill," President Chen explained without preamble. "Intelligence suggests he won't live more than a few months." This was significant news. In the rigid structure of the Draconian Empire, the Emperor's death would trigger a struggle for power among high-ranking military commanders. "The Empire will be vulnerable during the transition," Vax Thule said thoughtfully. "Military forces will be pulled back to core worlds to demonstrate loyalty to whoever emerges as the new Emperor, creating opportunities for more worlds to break free," Elena added. President Chen nodded. "We're accelerating our shipbuilding program. By year's end, we'll have 50 starships ready." Back on Taraxis, Captain Diaz and Kurzath made their way to the surface using a small shuttle designed to mimic local aircraft. They landed in a remote mountain region where Taraxian resistance leaders waited. The Taraxians looked almost human except for their silvery skin and large violet eyes. Their leader, Nora, greeted the visitors cautiously. "You claim to offer freedom," she said, her voice melodic. "Yet you bring a Draconian with you." She nodded toward Kurzath. "I understand your suspicion," Kurzath replied, "but I am no longer loyal to the Empire that enslaved both your people and mine." Captain Diaz opened a small case containing data crystals. These contain technology that will disrupt Draconian communications and sensors. Within 6 months, you can disable their control systems without firing a shot. Nera's eyes widened. "How is this possible? The Empire's technology is too advanced." Kurzath stepped forward. "Not compared to Earth's. Humans took our most advanced systems and improved them in ways the Empire never imagined." He explained how Earth had already helped 2 other worlds break free from Draconian control. The Empire believed these were internal rebellions and never suspected outside help. "When the Draconians leave your world," Captain Diaz promised, "we'll welcome you into an alliance of free planets. Not an empire, but a cooperative of equals." Nera shared a look with her fellow resistance leaders. For the first time in decades, hope shone in their eyes. "Tell us more about this Earth," she said. 6 months later, in the Grand Hall of the Draconian Imperial Palace, Emperor Zexkaloth received troubling news. The 7th Fleet, his mightiest invasion force, had been completely destroyed. "Show me the data again," the Emperor demanded, his voice echoing off the high ceiling. Imperial scientists projected a hologram showing Earth's sun suddenly erupting with a massive flare. The deadly radiation engulfed both the Draconian fleet and the primitive planet they had been sent to conquer. "There was no warning," explained the chief scientist. "No way to predict such an event. Both the fleet and the planet were destroyed instantly." The Emperor hissed in frustration. The loss of 200 warships was significant, but not crippling to his vast empire. What troubled him more was the strange nature of the disaster. "Mark that solar system as forbidden," he ordered. "No ships are to enter that region of space." Back on Earth, Vaxful stood inside a massive underground facility in what humans called the Rocky Mountains. Before him stretched an enormous construction bay where human workers built Earth's first true starship. "We call her the Phoenix Asterisk," said Dr. Elena Santos proudly. Built with a combination of Draconian and human technology, the ship looked sleeker than a Draconian vessel, with smooth lines and an elegant design that reflected humanity's artistic touch. But Vax Thule could see it also incorporated the best Draconian engineering principles. "It's beautiful," he admitted. "How many more are planned?" 20 in the first wave," Elena replied. "But that's just the beginning." Throughout the facility, humans and Draconians worked side by side. Former invasion soldiers now taught humans about advanced propulsion systems. Draconian communication experts helped design faster-than-light transmitters. What had begun as reluctant cooperation had blossomed into genuine collaboration. Later that day, Vax Fool attended a meeting with President Chen and the Advisory Council. The room's large windows overlooked a mountain valley where autumn had turned the trees gold and red. "Our intelligence network is growing," reported General Williams. "We've made contact with 3 species currently under Draconian control. All have expressed interest in our offer of assistance." The plan was bold but simple. Using their Draconian allies' knowledge, Earth would contact oppressed worlds and offer technology and training to help them gain independence, not through violence, but through careful planning and technological advancement. "The Empire will never suspect Earth," said Kirzath. "They believe this planet was destroyed. They won't recognize Earth technology even if they encounter it." President Chen turned to Vax Thule. "You've studied our approach carefully. Do you believe it can succeed?" Vax Thule considered the question. 6 months ago, he would have said the Empire was invincible. Now he saw its weaknesses clearly. "The Empire is powerful because it keeps worlds isolated from each other," he explained. "Each conquered planet believes it stands alone. If they learn others are breaking free, if they share knowledge and resources." He looked around at the humans and his fellow Draconians. "Yes, it can succeed." "Then we proceed," President Chen declared. "The Phoenix Asterisk launches next month." As the meeting ended, Vax Fool lingered by the window. He thought about his former life. The rigid structure, the constant fear, the endless wars. Then he looked at the beautiful valley below and the humans working alongside his people. The Draconian Empire had spent thousands of years conquering worlds through fear and destruction. Earth would change the galaxy through cooperation and freedom. And Vax Fool would help them do it. Draconian dropships descended through Earth's atmosphere, their metal hulls glowing red with heat. Inside each ship, 30 heavily armed soldiers prepared for battle. They wore armor that could stop bullets and carried weapons that could melt through steel. Commander Vax Thule watched from the flagship, satisfaction spreading across his scaled face. "Begin landings at all primary targets," he ordered. "Secure their leadership centers first." On the main screen, a map showed landing zones in Washington, D.C., Beijing, Moscow, London, and 20 other major cities. Each location marked what the Draconians believed was a center of human government. "Strange," said Lieutenant Kirzath, looking at sensor readings. "We detect no defensive measures, no missiles, no aircraft rising to meet us. They truly are surrendering without a fight." Vax Fool nodded. "As expected, 17 worlds conquered, and not one has ever surprised us." In the underwater command center, Dr. Elena Santos watched the Draconian ships descend exactly where they wanted them to go. "All landing sites confirmed," said a technician. "They're taking the bait." For months, Earth had constructed elaborate fake government buildings. From the outside, they looked like the White House, the Kremlin, and other centers of power. Inside, they were empty shells filled with advanced technology. "Wait until all dropships have landed," Alina ordered. "Let them secure the fake buildings first." On her screen, she could see inside the Draconian ships thanks to the quiescent device. The alien soldiers looked fearsome in their battle gear, checking weapons and preparing to subjugate humanity. The first dropship landed on the lawn of what appeared to be the White House. Soldiers poured out, weapons ready, and rushed toward the building. They met no resistance. The doors opened easily. Similar scenes played out across the globe. Draconian troops entered what they thought were centers of human government, finding them strangely empty but intact. "Commander," reported a confused squad leader from Beijing. "The building is empty. No humans, no resistance, but all systems appear operational." "Same in Moscow," reported another. "Empty buildings with working computers and lights. No humans." Vax Fool frowned. "Search thoroughly. They must be hiding." Inside the fake White House, Draconian soldiers reached the Oval Office. It looked perfect. Desk, flags, presidential seal on the carpet. One soldier approached the desk and touched a pen lying there. Immediately, hidden systems activated throughout all the fake buildings worldwide. Invisible gas filled each room, odorless and colorless. The Draconian soldiers didn't notice anything until they began to feel dizzy. "Something's wrong," a squad leader in London managed to say before collapsing to the floor, unconscious. Within minutes, every Draconian soldier in every fake building across Earth was unconscious. In the command center, Elena nodded with satisfaction. "The paralyzing agent worked perfectly. It targets their specific biology." "What about the ships in orbit?" asked General Williams. "Now for Phase 2, Elena said. She turned to her communications officer. "Send the fake distress signals from all ground teams." Across the Draconian fleet, commanders received desperate messages from their ground forces, reporting ambushes and overwhelming human resistance. Vax Thule slammed his fist on his command chair. "Impossible. How could primitive humans overcome our elite forces?" "Sir," said Kurzath, "ground teams request immediate orbital strikes on military targets. They're sending coordinates now." The coordinates appeared on the main screen, locations of what the Draconians believed were Earth's hidden military bases. "Launch strikes immediately," Vax Fool ordered. As the Draconian ships prepared their weapons, Elena smiled. The coordinates they had fed to the aliens through the fake distress calls were actually empty deserts, uninhabited mountains, and ocean locations far from any humans. "They're arming weapons," reported a technician. "Perfect," said Elena. "Let them waste their firepower on empty land. Meanwhile, prepare the quantum pulse. The moment they fire, we strike back." 5 years after the failed Draconian invasion of Earth, a grand meeting took place in the newly built Galactic Cooperation Hall in Geneva. Representatives from 27 formerly conquered worlds gathered to celebrate their freedom and formalize their alliance. The Great Hall buzzed with different languages and species from across the galaxy. Some looked almost human, while others had unique forms that once would have seemed alien and frightening to human eyes. Now they were welcomed as friends and equals. At the main table sat President Maya Chen, now serving her second term as Earth's leader. Beside her was Commander Vax Fool, whose official title was now Galactic Relations Advisor, but who everyone knew as the architect of the remarkable alliance. 5 years ago, President Chen addressed the gathering. "A fleet came to conquer Earth. Today that fleet's commander stands with us, not as a conqueror, but as a liberator of worlds." Vax Fool rose to speak. The once fierce Draconian military leader had changed. His posture was still proud, but his eyes showed a wisdom and peace that would have been impossible in his former life. "The Empire taught me that power comes from fear," he said. "Earth taught me that true strength comes from cooperation. Together, we have freed more worlds in 5 years than the Empire conquered in 50. The Draconian Empire was now a shadow of its former self. After Emperor Zexkaloth's death, 3 powerful commanders had claimed the throne, splitting the Empire into warring factions. Meanwhile, Earth and its allies had systematically helped world after world break free. Dr. Elena Santos, now directing Earth's Advanced Technology Division, presented the Alliance's newest achievement, a communication network that instantly connected all member worlds, allowing them to share knowledge and warnings of Imperial movements. "We call it the Freedom Net," she explained. "Unlike Imperial systems that control and restrict information, this network ensures all worlds have equal access to knowledge." As the formal meeting concluded, Vax Thule found himself on a balcony overlooking Geneva's lake. Captain Maria Diaz joined him, now an admiral commanding Earth's fleet of 100 starships. "Did you ever imagine this outcome when you led your fleet to Earth?" she asked. Vax Thule laughed softly. "Never. I came to conquer a primitive world. Instead, I found teachers. And we found the galaxy," she replied. Below them, humans mingled with visitors from distant worlds. Children from Earth played with young ones from Taraxis and other planets. Scientists exchanged ideas. Artists shared their different cultural traditions. Across the galaxy, the story had become legend, how a Draconian fleet vanished completely at Earth, and how that mysterious end had shaken the foundations of an empire. Few knew the truth, that the fleet hadn't been destroyed but transformed. The once mighty warships now served as vessels of peace and cooperation. Their weapons replaced with scientific equipment, their prison cells converted to living quarters for diplomats and scientists. As night fell over Geneva, lights from the city reflected on the lake like stars. Vax Thule thought about the different paths history could have taken. Had the Draconians succeeded in their invasion, both they and humans would have lost something precious: the chance to learn from each other and grow together. The mysterious end of the Draconian fleet hadn't just shaken the galaxy, it had changed it forever, replacing an empire of fear with an alliance of hope. And it had all begun with a simple choice: mercy instead of vengeance. Commander Vax Thule stood on the bridge of the massive warship Death Talon *. His scaled hands clasped behind his back as he stared at the blue-green planet on the main screen. Earth, such a simple name for his next conquest. "All ships report ready, Commander," said Lieutenant Kirazath, his voice low and respectful. "The 7th Fleet awaits your command." Vax Thule nodded slowly. 200 warships, the pride of the Draconian Empire, hung in the dark space beyond Saturn. Each ship could destroy an entire city with a single blast. Together, they had conquered 17 worlds without a single defeat. "The humans have no idea what's coming," Vax Thule said, his lips pulled back to reveal sharp teeth and what his species considered a smile. "Our reports say they still fight among themselves. They have no unified defense, no space weapons. They haven't even reached their own moon in 30 years. "Primitive species," agreed Kirazath. "The Emperor will be pleased with such an easy conquest. Their water alone makes this planet valuable." Vax Thule turned to his communications officer. "Send standard messages in all their languages. Let them know their new masters have arrived." On Earth, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, a different scene played out. Dr. Elena Santos watched as the massive holographic display showed the positions of all 200 Draconian ships. Her underground command center hummed with quiet activity as hundreds of technicians monitored screens and readouts. "They're exactly where we expected them to be," said General Williams, standing beside her. "Our deep space sensors track them perfectly." Elena nodded, her face serious. "And they have no idea we've been watching them for weeks." "What are they doing now?" asked the general. "Just what we predicted," Elena replied. "They're preparing their standard intimidation broadcast. Big, scary aliens telling us to surrender or die." She almost smiled. Above them, on the surface, people went about their normal lives. Some looked up at the night sky, unaware of the deadly fleet positioned beyond the visible planets. News channels reported strange signal disruptions. Social media buzzed with conspiracy theories about alien visitors. This was exactly what Elena wanted. On the surface, Earth appeared defenseless and unaware. random chatter, confused governments, ordinary civilian life. In reality, Earth had been preparing for this moment for decades. Alina turned to her team. Activate Protocol Nebula. Full silent response. Around the world, hidden systems came online. Military bases concealed under mountains, beneath oceans, and disguised as ordinary buildings switched to full alert. Special Forces units received encrypted activation codes on devices that looked like regular phones. Thousands of ordinary-looking people, mail carriers, teachers, bus drivers, received the same message. Nebulae active. These were Earth's hidden defenders, trained for years for this exact scenario. In Kansas, Major James Chen kissed his wife goodbye, telling her he had an emergency at work. She had no idea he was about to pilot a mission to the alien flagship. In Nigeria, Lieutenant Aisha Okafor closed her laptop at a busy cafe and walked calmly to her car, where a special equipment case waited in the trunk. As the Draconian fleet moved closer to Earth, Vax Fool watched the planet with confidence. His victory was certain. The humans were weak, divided, and primitive. It was the last mistake he would ever make as a conqueror. Commander Vax Fool watched with satisfaction as his ships fired powerful energy beams toward Earth. Bright flashes of light appeared on the planet's surface as the weapons hit their targets. Direct hits on all coordinates, reported the weapons officer. Human military bases destroyed. Excellent, Vax Fool said. Now they will understand our power. Prepare the second wave of ground forces. What the Draconians didn't know was that they had just wasted their firepower on empty land. The coordinates sent from the fake distress signals led them to fire at uninhabited deserts, mountains, and ocean areas. In the underwater command center, Dr. Elena Santos watched the energy blasts hit the dummy locations. All strikes landed exactly where we wanted, she said. No casualties. No damage to actual infrastructure. They've fallen for every trap so far, said General Williams. Now it's our turn. Elena nodded. Activate the quantum pulse. Throughout Earth's oceans, hidden installations powered up. These underwater bases house technology reverse-engineered from alien tech found decades ago. Now that technology had been improved upon by human scientists. On the Draconian flagship, alarms suddenly blared. Commander, shouted the sensor officer. Unknown energy signature detected around the planet. Before Vax Fool could respond, a wave of invisible energy swept through his fleet. Ship after ship reported system failures. Engines stopped. Weapons went offline. Communications between ships became scrambled. What is happening? Vax Fool roared. How can primitives do this? On his ship's bridge, screens flickered and controls stopped responding. For the first time in his long career as a conqueror, Vax Fool felt fear. Back on Earth, Elena watched as the quantum pulse disabled the entire Draconian fleet. The pulse specifically targeted their technology, using knowledge gained from the Quiescent device's deep scan of their systems. All 200 ships disabled, reported a technician. Their engines, weapons, and communications are down. Now for the final phase, Elena said. Launch the drones. From underwater bases around the world, thousands of small, sleek craft rose into the sky. These unmanned drones, using stealth technology, climbed rapidly toward the disabled Draconian fleet. The drones are invisible to their sensors, Elena explained to her team. Each one carries a quantum lock device that will permanently disable a ship's critical systems. As the drones approached the Draconian vessels, Vax Fool and his crew worked desperately to restore power. Engines still offline, reported an engineer. Backup systems not responding. What about communications? Vax Fool demanded. Can we contact the Empire? Negative, Commander. All long-range communications are down. For the first time, doubt crept into Vax Fool's mind. How could humans, a pre-FTL species with primitive technology, disable his entire fleet? The answer came when a technician managed to get external cameras working again. The crew fell silent as the screen showed thousands of advanced drones attaching themselves to every ship in the fleet. "Those aren't primitive," whispered Kurzath. "Those are more advanced than anything we have." On Earth, Elena and her team watched as each drone locked onto a Draconian ship and deployed its quantum lock device. These devices infiltrated the ship's systems at the quantum level, making repair impossible. "All drones successfully deployed," reported the drone control officer. "The Draconian fleet is now permanently disabled." Elena took a deep breath. "Send the message to all Earth Defense Forces. Phase 1 complete. Begin Phase 2. Across the planet, hidden military installations emerged from underground bunkers, mountain hideaways, and ocean depths. Advanced fighter craft rose into the sky. Energy shields flickered to life around major cities. The true face of Earth's defense force was finally revealed. 3 months passed since the failed Draconian invasion. On a sunny afternoon, Vax Fool stood on a beach in Australia, feeling warm sand under his scaled feet. He watched human families play in the water, their laughter carried by the ocean breeze. "Still getting used to freedom?" asked Dr. Elena Santos, walking up beside him. Vax Fool nodded. "In the Empire, we never had time for enjoyment. Every moment was duty, conquest, or preparing for the next mission." "And your crew, how are they adjusting?" "Better than expected," he admitted. "Many have discovered interests they never knew they had. Arts, sciences, things forbidden or considered useless in the Empire." Across Earth, the integration of Draconian crew members continued smoothly. Some worked with human scientists, sharing their knowledge of advanced technology. Others learned human cultures and languages. A few had even started families with humans who could see past their reptilian appearance to the person within. "It's time," Elena said. "The message to your empire is ready to send." They walked to a nearby building disguised as a beach resort. Inside was an advanced communication center where human and Draconian technicians worked together. On the main screen, they saw the carefully crafted sensor data that would be sent to the Draconian Empire. It showed the 7th Fleet approaching Earth, then a massive solar flare erupting from the sun, engulfing both the fleet and the planet in deadly radiation. "The Empire scientists will analyze this data for months," said Kurzath, who had become one of the most cooperative Draconians. "They'll conclude this sector of space is too dangerous for travel. And Earth will be safe," added Elena. Vax Fool approved the message with a nod. "Send it." With a press of a button, the message began its journey across space toward the Draconian Empire. It would take 6 months to reach its destination. Later that evening, Vax Fool found himself invited to a special dinner. President Maya Chen of the United Earth Government sat at the head of the table. Around her were leaders from various nations, along with key Draconian officers who had embraced their new life on Earth. "Today marks a new chapter," President Chen said, raising a glass. "Not just for Earth, but perhaps for the galaxy." She revealed a bold plan. Using Draconian ships as templates, Earth would build its own fleet of starships, not for conquest, but for exploration, and to help other worlds oppressed by the Empire. "Commander Vax Fool," she said, "we would like you to lead a special advisory council. Your knowledge of the Empire will be crucial for our success." Vax Fool was stunned. In the Empire, a defeated commander would never be trusted again, let alone given a position of honor. "You would trust me with this?" he asked. "You've proven yourself these past months," President Chen replied. "More importantly, you've seen both sides now, the Empire's way of conquest and Earth's way of cooperation." Vax Fool thought of his former life. The constant fear of failure, the brutal hierarchy, the endless wars. Then he looked around at the humans who had shown him mercy instead of revenge, opportunity instead of punishment. "I accept," he said firmly, "and I believe many in my crew will join this cause willingly." As the dinner continued, Vax Fool realized something profound. Had the Draconians conquered Earth as planned, They would have destroyed the very things that made humans special: their creativity, their compassion, their ability to forgive enemies and turn them into allies. For the first time in his life, Vax Fool was glad to have been defeated. Commander Vax Fool paced the bridge of the Death Talon *, his clawed feet clicking against the metal floor. His fleet had moved past Mars now, drawing closer to Earth with each passing hour. "Something is wrong," he growled. "We've sent the surrender message hours ago. Why haven't they responded?" Lieutenant Kirazath checked the communications panel. "We detect many signals from the planet, Commander. News broadcasts, entertainment, millions of personal communications, but nothing official directed at us." Vax Fool slammed his fist on a nearby console. "Scan their military bases. They must be preparing some kind of defense." The scan results puzzled the Draconian officers. They showed military bases with minimal activity, airports with planes sitting idle, naval ships in harbors, not moving out to sea. "They do nothing to defend themselves," said Kirazath. "Perhaps they are in shock, or their leaders hide in fear." Vax Fool's eyes narrowed. In 17 conquests, he had never seen this reaction. Usually there was panic, desperate military preparations, or hurried diplomatic messages. But Earth seemed to be ignoring them. "Send a demonstration," he ordered. "Target that small island in the large ocean. No inhabitants. Show them our power." A beam of energy shot from the flagship, striking an uninhabited island in the Pacific. The explosion was visible from space, turning the island into nothing but steam and ash. "Now they will respond," Vax Fool said with satisfaction. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Elena Santos watched the island's destruction on her monitors. "Right on schedule," she said calmly. "They always demonstrate their weapons on something uninhabited first." General Williams nodded. "Our diplomatic response team is ready. The actors will put on a good show of fear and confusion." On screens around them, a hastily organized video conference showed men and women in business suits arguing in various languages. Some appeared to be crying. Others shouted. It looked like chaos and fear. "This feed is being broadcast on channels the Draconians can intercept," Elena explained to her team. "Let them think our world leaders are falling apart." In reality, Earth's actual Defense Council sat in a different room, calmly monitoring the situation. The real world leaders had been moved to secure locations weeks ago. Major James Chen entered the command center, wearing a simple farmer's coveralls. "My team is ready, Dr. Santos," he reported. "The shuttle is prepped with the Qui-ESCN device." Elena nodded. "The Draconians will see your shuttle as a primitive craft carrying farm supplies. Their scans will show nothing unusual because Qui-ESCN operates on quantum frequencies they can't detect." Chen smiled. "They'll let us dock because they think we're bringing peace offerings from scared leaders." "Once you're aboard," Elena continued, "Lieutenant Okafor will plant the device near their main computer systems. After that, we'll have access to everything: their communications, weapons, and navigation." Outside the bunker, news of the island's destruction spread across Earth. People watched footage of the explosion with horror on their screens. Some packed bags and fled cities. Others gathered in churches and temples to pray. This panic was real, and Elena felt a twinge of guilt. Most of Earth's population didn't know about the defense plans. Their fear was genuine. "It's necessary," General Williams said, noticing her expression. "The Draconians must believe we are helpless. The more convincing our fear appears, the more careless they will become." In orbit, Vax Fool watched Earth's panicked reactions with satisfaction. "Prepare landing parties," he ordered. "It's time to accept their surrender in person." He had no idea he was following Earth's script perfectly. Major James Chen piloted the old cargo shuttle toward the massive Draconian flagship. From the outside, his shuttle looked worn and patched together. The Draconian scanners showed it contained wooden crates of fruits, grains, and simple handcrafted items. "Primitive vessel approaching," reported a Draconian officer. "They claim to bring peace offerings from Earth's leaders." Commander Vax Fool laughed. "Let them come. It will be amusing to see these humans beg in person." Inside the shuttle, Chen and his team of 5 wore simple clothes that hid advanced technology. Lieutenant Aisha Okafor checked the quiescent device one last time. The small disk, no bigger than a coin, contained Earth's most advanced quantum technology. "Remember," Chen told his team quietly, "act nervous and clumsy. Look amazed by their technology. Let them feel superior." The shuttle docked with the Draconian ship with a loud clang. Chen's team put on what appeared to be basic breathing masks, but actually contained advanced communication and scanning equipment. When the airlock opened, 10 tall Draconian soldiers greeted them with weapons ready. Commander Vax Fool stood behind them, his scaled skin gleaming under the bright lights. "Welcome to your new reality, humans," Vax Fool said through a translator. "Your offerings are accepted. Your surrender will follow." Chen bowed deeply, his eyes down. "Great ones, we bring gifts from Earth's leaders. They wish to discuss terms of peace." The Draconians let them bring in several wooden crates. Chen's team stumbled and fumbled, appearing weak in the different gravity. The aliens watched with amusement as the humans struggled. "Earth's finest treasures," Chen said, opening a crate to reveal perfectly arranged fruits and handcrafted items. While all eyes were on Chen, Lieutenant Okafor pretended to trip near a computer terminal. She steadied herself against the wall, discreetly placing the quiescent device on the terminal surface. The tiny disk immediately changed color to match the terminal, becoming almost invisible. Back on Earth, Dr. Elena Santos watched the mission through the team's hidden cameras. The moment the quiescent device touched the Draconian computer, data began flowing into Earth's systems. "We're in," Elena said, her voice tight with excitement, beginning full system infiltration. On screens around her, Draconian text appeared and was instantly translated. Ship schematics, weapon systems, communication protocols. The complete database of the Draconian Empire was opening before them. "They plan to harvest our water," said one analyst, reading the incoming data, "and they consider humans a potential slave species." Elena's face hardened. "Keep monitoring. I want to know everything before they realize what's happening." On the Draconian ship, Chen continued the performance, offering elaborate explanations for simple items like apples and hand-woven blankets. Vax Fool and his officers smirked at the humans' apparent primitiveness. "Take them to the holding area," Vax Fool finally ordered. "We will begin landing operations immediately." As Chen's team was escorted away, Lieutenant Okafor glanced at the terminal where she had placed the device. A small green light blinked once, confirming full activation. Meanwhile, in cities across Earth, crowds gathered in central squares, watching giant screens showing news of the alien arrival. Government officials made calming statements that contained hidden messages for those in the know. "Remain in designated safe areas," they advised. "Wait for further instructions. Help will come." For most people, these sounded like standard emergency procedures. But for Earth's hidden defenders, each phrase conveyed specific timing information. In the underwater command center, Elena pulled up a global map showing thousands of green dots, each representing a defensive position now ready and waiting. "All quantum arrays at full power," reported General Williams. "Ready on your command." Elena nodded. "Let the Draconians make the first move. The moment their troops touch our soil, we spring the trap." In orbit, Commander Vax Fool gave the order, "Begin the invasion of Earth." Commander Vax Fool stared at the view screen in disbelief. Where once he saw a primitive, defenseless planet, he now witnessed a world transformed. Advanced human fighters circled his disabled fleet. Energy shields glimmered around Earth's cities. Military bases that had been invisible to his scanners now stood revealed, bristling with weapons that rivaled or exceeded Draconian technology. "Impossible," he whispered. This cannot be happening. The bridge door slid open, and a group of humans entered. They wore sleek uniforms unlike the primitive clothes Vax Thule had seen before. Leading them was a woman with determined eyes and a confident stance. "Commander Vax Thule," she said in perfect Draconian language, "I am Dr. Elena Santos of Earth's Defense Initiative. Your fleet is now under our control." Vax Thule's officers reached for their weapons, but found they wouldn't fire. "Don't bother," Elena said. "We've disabled all Draconian weapons throughout the fleet." "How?" demanded Vax Thule. "How could you deceive our scans? Our intelligence said you were primitive." Elena smiled slightly. "That's exactly what we wanted you to think. 50 years ago, one of your scout ships crashed in our Arctic region. We recovered alien technology and have been preparing for your eventual arrival ever since." On the view screen behind her, Vax Thule could see human ships attaching to his fleet vessels. Teams of humans in specialized suits entered each Draconian ship, quickly taking control. "Your ground forces have been captured," Elena continued. "Your ships are disabled. You have lost, Commander." According to Draconian military code, defeat meant only one thing. Vax Thule straightened his back, preparing for his execution. "I accept my fate," he said formally. "My life is forfeit. My crew requests mercy." Elena looked surprised. "We're not going to kill you, Commander." This was so unexpected that Vax Thule could only stare at her. "Earth doesn't work that way," she explained. "We're offering you a choice instead." Meanwhile, in cities across Earth, people watched in amazement as their governments finally revealed the truth. Giant screens in public squares showed the captured Draconian fleet. Leaders explained how Earth had been preparing for decades, developing advanced technology in secret. Some people were angry about being kept in the dark. Others felt relief that humanity had been ready for the invasion. But most felt pride that their world had stood against the greatest military force in the galaxy and won. Back on the flagship, Elena laid out humanity's offer to Vax Thule. "The Draconian Empire must never know what really happened here," she said. "If they learned that a primitive planet defeated their elite fleet, they would return with everything they have." She activated a holographic display showing a detailed plan. "Instead, we will help you send modified sensor data back to your empire. It will show that a massive solar flare destroyed both your fleet and our planet. Your empire will mark this solar system as dangerous and avoid it." Vax Thule considered this. "And my crew? What happens to us?" "You will be guests on Earth," Elena replied. "You'll help us understand your technology, and in return, you'll experience freedom unknown in your empire. No more conquest, no more fear of failure." For a commander raised in the strict hierarchy of the Draconian military, where failure meant death, this offer was revolutionary. "Why would you show mercy?" he asked, genuinely confused. Elena's expression softened slightly. "Because that's what makes us human, Commander. We choose cooperation over destruction when given the chance." Vax Thule looked at his defeated crew, then back at the human leader. "I accept your terms," he said finally. "My fleet is yours."